Conflict resolution for house cleaners. What is it and how does it affect your business? We're going to cover that today. Hi there, I'm Angela Brown and this is Ask a House Cleaner. This is a show where you get to ask a house cleaning question and I get to help you find an answer. Now today's show is paid for by House Call Pro and it's a software for service professionals. So if you go to people's homes and you set appointments and you have a schedule and then you send them an invoice and they pay you and all that stuff, this is a software that eliminates a lot of the menial tasks that you have to do over and over and over again. So check it out at housecallpro.com/Angela. All right, on to today's show. Over the course of the week, we had a really interesting discussion about conflict resolution. And so what is conflict? Well, as a business owner, you're going to have a lot of conflict in your business. So what is it? Well, there's first and foremost the conflict that you will have with yourself. This is, am I spending my company's resources and time properly? Is this really what I need to be doing for a living? Am I really managing these situations and these problems in my business correctly? Do I need more help? Do I need more coaching? What is happening in my business? And am I the right person to be dealing with this? Anything that raises the pressure and noise in your business is conflict. Now, there's also conflict with your spouse. So if you are married and you have somebody that is supporting you in your business, there will forever be a conflict of, are you spending your family's time and resources and money back to the business wisely? So there will always be a conflict there. The next conflict is between you and your employees once you hire employees. Are they behaving properly? Are they doing the job properly? If they're not, there's conflict. And then there's conflict between the two of them or three of them or whoever the team members are. So do they get along with each other? Are they helping each other out? There's a conflict that kind of happens organically. And then if you are the house cleaner that goes into the customer's home, there's a conflict between you and your customer. If you didn't do something right and they are unhappy, there's a conflict there. Or it could also be your customers having conflicts among themselves. You go into a customer's house and they're in the middle of a huge fight and you walk in and you're like, whoa, I came to the wrong place at the wrong time, right? So we will forever be focusing on resolving conflicts in our business. So first and foremost, what is the conflict and how do you determine if you're the right person to resolve it? That's a great question. And the first thing that I like to ask myself is that very question. Am I the right person to be solving this problem? Is this my problem? Now, I remember when I was really young and I was a hothead, I would get angry and I would just fly off the handle at all sorts of things that were not actually even my problems. I was going to fix the world and the world was going to be how I wanted it to be. And I would get really angry and really upset if that was not the case. And I remember one time I was in the middle of a very heated discussion with my sales and marketing mentor, Jeffrey Gitomer. And I remember him asking me this question. He says, "Hey, Angela, who put you in charge as general manager of the universe?" And it was such a great question. It stopped me cold in my tracks. And I've thought about it for several years since then. Because the reality is I'm not the general manager of the universe. And although I was taking on lots of problems that I was going to fix, they weren't my problems at all. And so I have been very careful to step back. And so as a business owner, I like to stop and take a bigger view and say, is this actually my problem? And if it's not, is it okay if I walk away? Because lots of the problems will resolve themselves if you don't get involved and you don't stir the pot and you don't make things a whole lot worse than they are. Sometimes they will resolve themselves. Now, not always, but sometimes. So is this a problem I need to get involved in, or can I walk away? And in my age right now, where I have a little bit of wisdom behind me and a little bit of experience, I like to walk away. So if somebody really has me hot and bothered and my blood is boiling, I like to just stop. And I ask myself this question. If I make any decisions right now, are they going to be wise? And then very quickly I tell myself, no. Okay, so now I'm going to just walk away and I'm going to calm down. And when I feel differently about this situation, I will then revisit it. But I'm not going to revisit it while I'm in this heated state of emotional involvement where I may say or do something I will later regret. Now, we live in an era of social media, and it is even heightened even more because even something you say on social media can and will be screenshot and shared and reposted and repinned and passed around and taken out of context and all that stuff. So you have to be very, very careful about the conflicts that you're dealing with, especially if they're public conflicts. All right, so then the next thing is, once you've decided that you are the person that has to get involved, what is the level of involvement? So for example, as a business owner, I have a conversation with everybody that I hire on day one. And I ask them, hey, did I tell you about my business or battlefield speech? I run a business, not a battlefield. And while you are coming to work for my company, if for any reason at any time you don't get along with any of the other employees, I'm going to let the two of you that are having the conflict go outside, you duke it out outside, and if only one of you comes back, that's okay with me. I don't care which one of you it is. I do care, however, if that conflict becomes my conflict, okay? So you're grown-ups, you're smart people. I trust that you will be wise in your choices. I trust that you will be respectful to each other, that you will be kind to each other. And if there's a conflict, I trust that you will go resolve it without my help, okay? They don't want to know about it. And it works. People resolve it on their own, and I don't have to deal with it. So if they're not my conflicts to resolve, they're grown-ups, they can resolve it on their own, I let them do that. And then I say, yay, you guys resolved your own conflicts. Good, everyone can come back. We continue on business as usual. All right, if I have to get involved and there's a really big conflict and I have to resolve it, I'm the only one that can resolve it. This happens a lot, like if you're a parent and you have children and you are the decision maker, you can't just walk away, right? There are times when you have to resolve the conflict. Okay, so in this scenario, I like to stop and I like to ask myself, what is one extreme? And then what is one other extreme? And then what happens in the middle? And I like to come up with 3 different answers, because one is probably what I'm feeling like doing right now. The other one is probably what I should be doing. And if I were to make a compromise or a negotiation in the middle, what would that look like? And this is usually the one in the middle, that some version of this is what we end up doing. Now, I learned this from 24, from Jack Bauer. Every time somebody asked him to do something, he would say, well, I get something in return. And he would ask for something in exchange. And so if you're going to negotiate a conflict, what do you get in exchange? And the reason that I ask this is because you're already invested in it, right? You're emotionally involved. You're somehow connected to this outcome you have to resolve. So what is it you are trying to accomplish? What is it you are trying to achieve? Because if you resolve a conflict and you get nothing out of it, that was a huge waste of your time and money and resources and energy and stress and all that stuff. So what do you get out of it? What are you hoping to achieve? So when I get really upset or angry or stressed or frustrated or angry, all of those are signs of conflict, okay? So what I do is I like to stop and ask myself, what would I like to see happen next? And once I can articulate in my head what I would like to see happen next, that usually helps me decide what level or what road I have to go down in order to make that happen. And so with all due respect to everyone involved, what would I like to see happen next? In a perfect world scenario, what would I like to see happen next? And if I can make that happen right now in a calm, peaceful state without getting really angry and coming unglued, that would be optimal. That would just be awesome. But there are times when I have literally just said, you know what? I am not in a state of mind right now where I can resolve this without just shattering the world around me. Okay, I'm going to blow up the world around me if I have to deal with this right now. And so in those moments, I just walk away until I can calm down. When I can come back and I can think logically and I can handle the situation from a reasonable perspective, only then am I in a position to say, what would I like to see happen next? Okay? You have to make the answer to that question when you are in a sane state of mind. If your blood is boiling and you're hateful and you're hurtful and all these things, hangry, nothing you say is going to be wise, right? The things we would like to see happen next cannot happen probably for legal reasons, okay? So you have to be in the right state of mind. So conflict resolution, it is important that we learn how to manage it, because as long as you're a business owner, you will be dealing with it, probably some a little bit every single day for the rest of your career. So I hope this helps you. I hope this gives you a little bit of an insight into how as business owners we handle our conflict resolution. If you found this helpful, hit the subscribe button and come back. We're here 5 days a week and we answer your questions on house cleaning and running a cleaning business. All right, until then, leave the world a cleaner place than when you found it.